What's up guys, it's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video, and today we have What If Naruto Was in High School DxD Part 1. Armed with the Rinnegan, Naruto bides his time before returning to the underworld to bring the Uzumaki clan back to its former glory. Why is Naruto hiding? Who is he hiding from? And how was he transported into the High School DxD universe in the first place? We'll find out extremely soon. Thank you guys so much for the support. If you would hit the like button about right now and hit the subscribe button, it really does help out the algorithm and to people to view the video because these are just so fun to make and I would love for people to watch them. Let's try to hit 1,000 likes. If you guys want to know when I upload or my exact schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Also subscribe to my second channels. Once again, if you want to become a member, go ahead and hit the blue button to find out my upload schedule. And check out Papowski and Follow Stevie, my second channels, down below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the what ifs. Chapter 1. Co-Academy, mostly known for being a prestigious all-girl academy, has gone co-ed. After the announcement, the school was flooded with male students wanting to join, mostly because the male-to-female ratio was more females than males. Most guys went with the expectation to get laid or get many girlfriends. Naruto, however, was there for a different reason, to lay low. He and his Parage had been found by some older devils wishing to kill him to finally make the Uzumaki clan extinct. He was handled easily. He and his Parage needed to flee though. If one guy was able to find him, then more would undoubtedly follow. He wasn't happy that he had to go to the school, but he knew it was necessary. He needed to blend in to whatever place to do than a high school. Naruto is 5'9". With short blonde hair spiked up in different directions. He's wearing the Co-Academy Standard Boys uniform, which consists of a black blazer that he keeps open, a white under t-shirt, matching black trousers, and black shoes. Once he reaches the building, he can't help but be a bit amazed. The architecture is really astounding. He walks inside and is not surprised to see a lot more women than men roaming the halls. He roams for about 10 minutes before finding the administration office and heads to get his schedule. As the secretary is busy on her computer, he sends out a small pulse of power to see how many devils were here. He senses about 15 devils, 2 high class, a Gremory, and a Sea-Tree. The rest are low class, most likely their Parage. A minute later, he got his schedule and heads to his first class. Again, no surprise that it's about 90% female, with about 3 other guys. Looking around at everyone, he recognizes one. It's the Sea-Tree he had sensed a few minutes ago. Like all the other girls, she is wearing the female uniform. She has some red glasses adorning her face and has short black hair and a bob cut. Naruto immediately realizes she is gorgeous. She has strict, no-nonsense vibe coming off her, which Naruto likes a lot. Class, we have a new transfer student joining us today. Please make him feel welcome. Introduce yourself to the class, young man, says the teacher. My name is Naruto Namikaze. I'm 17 and I just moved to town. Nice to meet all of you. Please treat me well. He finishes bowing. He can't use his real name since that would be counterproductive, so he'll just use his dad's for now. Great. Now why don't you take a seat next to Shitori-san? Please raise your hand so we can know who you are, instructs the teacher. The Sea-Tree raises her hand. Naruto makes no outward indication that something is wrong, but inside, Shitori. So she's using an alias as well. Smart. Throughout the whole class period, Naruto would steal glances at her while concealing his devil power. No need to be caught yet. Though, one thing that he was afraid of anyone sensing his chakra. But what are the chances of another chakra user being here? Once the class period was over, he begins walking to his next class, which was math. As he's walking, he notices that everyone, both men and women alike, were moving out of the way for the 2 girls, recognizing both of them as the other higher class devils, along with their Parage member. It was the Gremory, and a black-haired beauty. The Gremory is an average-sized redhead, with some strands sticking out from the top of her head. She wears the standard woman's uniform, though it looks like the shirt might burst due to the size of her breast. Her companion was also average size, yet she had black hair tied into a ponytail, being held together by an orange ribbon. She wore the woman's uniform as well, as she had boobs just as, if not bigger, than the Gremory's. Everyone's moving to call them the 2 great Oni-sans, and the guys drooling over their breasts, which he had to admit were pretty damn big. So, That's his fiancée, huh? I could see why we would brag about it, with boobs like that. Though, I still think Citri is better. He thinks to himself. They notice him and he nods and continues on his merry way. He didn't turn around, so he didn't see if the shocked faces on them since he casually so ignored them. His second and third classes were pretty boring. Everyone in there was an average human, though most of them were stupid. The girls would all gossip all period long while the guys would be talking about who they wanted to bone. Naruto had to shake his head. If you were going to talk about someone like that, at least you could do is not be within an earshot. His fourth class, however, was amusing. After introducing himself yet again, he found out he had 3 other devils in the class, 2 women, both small and white-haired. One of them had woman's uniform, although without the black cape thing the others wore. She had a short hair and almost no expression on her face. This is Konako Toju, the servant of Gremory. Other than that, the rest of them were just males and females. The other one had long white hair and had somewhat curled towards the end. She had a serious look on her face. This is Momo Hanakai, servant of Citri. The last one was a fellow blonde. He had short blonde hair and a mole under his left eye. He wore a male uniform, though instead of a blazer, he wore a short-sleeved white button-up with a black bow tie. Normally, it would be weird seeing the 2 girls here, considering the first years, but he assumes they must have been too advanced for their own course. Throughout the class period, he couldn't concentrate. He knew that he was getting looks from the blonde boy and short-haired girl, seeing that they were focused on him, but he decided it was time to troll him to get him off his back. He noticed the teacher looking in his direction, so it made it seem like he was conversing with the boy. Knowing that teachers usually pick those talking, he lured her in. "Kiba-san, would you mind answering the question I just asked?" said the teacher, somewhat upset to having speak over a student. Naruto tapped his desk to get the boy's attention. Once he looked over, Naruto moved his mouth so the boy could read his lips. Knowing that the boy was a devil, he should have no problem reading his lips. Kiba looked back at the teacher and said confidently, "Sakura." The girls' jaws dropped. Naruto, along with the other males of the class, were doing their best to hold in their laughter, though they were failing miserably since you could hear the snickering going on. "Please sit down, do not speak again, Kiba-san," said the teacher, obviously upset. Kiba looked confused as to what happened, but he did as he was told anyway. The rest of the class period went on as expected. The boy didn't look his way again. The rest of the day passed quickly. He didn't have any other devils in his classes, so it was pretty boring. As he headed out the door, he noticed the 2 white-haired girls from his English class. He had to hold back a chuckle as he remembered what had transpired. Looking at them with an eyebrow raised, and his short-haired one spoke first. "Naruto-senpai, our president would like for you to meet her at our club room, if you wouldn't mind," she spoke in a monotone voice. "Wait. Before that, what's your name?" he questioned. "Konako Toju," she said as a doll. "And you?" he says, looking at the other girl. "My name is Hanakai Momo, and the student council president would also like to meet with you," she said. "I'll go with Tojo-san first, since she did tell me first. After I'm finished, I'll head to the student council room. Is that acceptable?" he asked. "That's fine, senpai. I'll let her know," she says before walking away. "Well, lead the way, Konako," he says, smiling, though he couldn't help but think, okay, so they must know something is up with me, since the Gremory wants to talk to me, but how did they find out? There's no way they could have felt my devil energy. Upon the Occult Research Club room, he couldn't help but wonder how did the school afford such a place. It had a built-in shower for crying out loud. He hears a cough and looks up and sees the Gremory girl and her black-haired servant standing behind her. She's sitting behind her Victorian-style desk. Now, he's no expert to decor, but it goes well with the room. "Welcome to the Occult Research Club, Namikaze-san. I'm Rias Gremory, and this is Akano Hajima," Ria states, monitoring herself, then to the other black-haired girl. Taking a seat, he asks, "So what did you call me here for?" She smiles and asks, "Would you like some tea?" He shakes his head. "Negative." "Very well, then let's get down to business, shall we?" she says. "Good idea. I wish I would have thought of that," he says, trying to contain a smile as you see her eyebrow twitch. Getting a hold of herself, she looks at him with a straight face and asks, "I'd like to know who exactly and what you are." "I beg your pardon?" he asked, feigning ignorance. Her eyes narrow as he speaks. "I know you're not human. Konako told us that she could sense chakra from you. Damn, so that's how they found out. The little girl sensed me. Most likely the other girl did too and told her master, he thinks. Before he could answer back, the door opened and 3 people walked in. The first was Kiba, who upon looking at him gave him a dirty look. The next was Konako, looking as dull as ever, eating a cookie. Finally was someone he hadn't seen. He was about the same height as himself and wore the male uniform just like him. Although he wore a red undershirt and used blue shoes rather than black, he looked at him before asking, "What's the new student doing here?" Right after he spoke, his eyes sparkled with recognition. "You're the one who tricked me, Kiba, into answering a question with a porn star's name," he says, laughing. He goes up to Naruto and sticks his fist out. Naruto holds his up as well, and they fist bump. "I'm Issei Hyoto," he introduces himself. "Naruto Namikaze," Naruto replies. He looks over at Kiba, who still has a nasty look on his face. He had been told who Asa Akira was and wasn't amused. "I take it you're still mad about what happened in class," he asked, smiling. Not surprisingly, the boy just narrowed his eyes further. He looked away from him, and when he heard Ria's cough to get his attention, "Oh, right. Well, I do have chakra, and I'm also a devil, just like you guys," he says. The group was somewhat shocked. Well, it wasn't unheard of. It was rare for a devil to have chakra. The only known ones were Konako and her sister Kuroka, both of which are reincarnated yokai. "I see. And what are you doing in my territory without my permission?" she questions, raising her power up a bit. "I don't exactly like your tone of voice. But if you must know, I haven't been in the underworld for a long time. I don't know what places belongs to who," he said. It was a lie. He knew who it belonged to, but he didn't need a headache right now. "So you're a stray?" she asked, though she didn't say it menacingly. It sounded more along the lines of someone scheming something. "He's pretty weak from what I'm feeling, but if trained correctly, he would be a valuable asset. It will be even helping my problem even more," she thinks before speaking. "Namikaze-san, I have a proposition for you. How would you like to join my Parage? It would grant my protection from being hunted down and you'd be more powerful than you are now," she says, smiling. No." Her eyes widen. "Why not?" "Because I already have my own Parage," he said, shocking her. Only high-class devils had Parages. As heir to the Gremory clan, she had to know every high-class devil there was. "If you were a high-class devil, I'd know about it," she says. "I'm a special case," he says before looking at the clock. "If you'll excuse me, I have to go visit Shitri-san as well. Goodbye," he says, leaving. I don't like her attitude, and display of power was pathetic for a king. He thinks, upset at how she spoke to him as if she were stronger than him. It didn't take him long to get to the student council room. He walks inside and sees the Citri working on some papers. Next to her is a girl wearing the woman's uniform. She has long, flowing black hair that reaches far down her back and wears blue-framed glasses. The Citri looks up and notices him and stops by what she's doing. "Thank you for coming, Namikaze-san. My name is Sona Citri. Would you like some tea?" "That would be great," he says. "Tsubaki, please get him some tea," she orders. The now named Tsubaki nods, as she's told. He sees Sona motion him after to a small area in the room where 2 small couches are along with a small coffee table. She pulls out a chessboard and sets it up. She motions him to sit. "First, I'd like to tell you that I heard about the incident in your class today," she says, straight-faced. Naruto once again can't help but laugh at the memory. He sees his tea being placed in front of him and notices that Tsubaki's eyes narrow as he laughs. "Is something wrong?" he asked. Before she can speak, snaps his fingers in realization. "Ah, I know why you're mad. You're upset that I embarrassed your crush, aren't you?" he says, smiling. She blushes and looks away. He hit it right on the mark. "If you would please stop teasing her so we can continue," Sona says. "Since you already spoke to Rias, you know that we're devils. She either told you or you figured it out on your own," she says, moving a piece. "One of the members of my Parage told me that she sensed chakra from you, so I have to ask, are you a yokai?" He moves a piece, stopping her strategy. "No, I'm a devil," he says. "Were you aware that you were in shared property between the Gremory and the Citris?" she asked, moving another piece. Unlike Rias, she sounded calm and didn't try to intimidate him. He likes this one. "No. Like I told Gremory, I haven't been to the underworld in a very long time, so I don't know what belongs to who." Another piece moved. She furrowed her brows at the board. He was good. No doubt Rias is trying to get him to join her Parage. She'd already get Hyoto. I need to get at least one. Chakra-capable devils are hard to come by, and Rias already has one. Looking up from the board, she says, "Namikaze-san, I would like for you to join my Parage," looking straight into his eyes. He can't help but stare back for a bit, snapping out of it. I'm afraid I can't do that. I already have my own Parage. Now, before you ask how that's possible, I'll tell you what I told Gremory. I'm a special case. However, if you'd like, I would become more than willing to become allies with you, under one condition, he says, moving another piece. Just a bit more and he wins. And what would that be? She asked with a straight face, though on the inside she was curious as to what he would want. She moved another piece, unaware of the trap set. We call each other by our first names, even in public, complete with suffixes and everything, he says, smiling her, moving one piece. She can't help but be a little pink appear on her cheeks as the familiarity of calling someone by her first name. How would I benefit from this? From what I know, apart from chakra, you're not releasing much power, she says, concentrating on the board again. Do you not know how to put up barriers to seal in power, he asks as she nods. Please do so, he says. She calls Tsubaki, and they erect a strong barrier around themselves. At first, nothing happened, but then they felt it. Overwhelming pressure coming from Naruto. Right before the barrier would have broken, he stopped. He displayed to them a fraction of what he was capable of. Sona didn't need to be told twice. She accepted the deal. Very well. I accept your condition, Namikaze-san. She says, looking at Naruto, who was looking back at her with one eyebrow raised. Realizing her mistake, she says it again. She looks away, blushing a bit before repeating herself. Very well, I accept your condition, Naruto-kan. Smiling brightly, he shakes her hand. Good to hear it, Sona-chan. He once again looks at the clock. He needs to get going. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow, Sona. I need to get home. Oh, and by the way, checkmate, he says before leaving. Looking down, she says she sees her king is completely cornered. She shocks someone just beat her without really trying. That she got herself a powerful new ally. Rias may have gotten the Red Dragon Emperor, but she has gotten a better deal in the end. Naruto got home within 15 minutes. He bought a house for him and his Parage. Well, they stay here indefinitely. It might as well be called a mansion. It was 3 stories and had a tall and enough backyard space to build a training ground. Walking inside, he could hear 2 people arguing. Heading to the living room, he saw the 2 culprits. One of them was eating chips on the couch, making a mess with crumbs. He's 6'1", tall, has spiky blue hair, wears black, somewhat unzipped shirt with white and unprinted collar over it. He wears black pants with 2 belts around his waist, one of which is holding a sword. His most distinct feature, though, is the jawbone on the right side of his face. This is his knight, Grimajou Geregius, a stray yokai he found on his travels. He refused to join at first, but eventually joined when he saw what power Naruto had. The other one was a shorter female, long white hair that reached to her mid-back. She has red eyes and wears a black choker on her neck with 2 chains dangling from it. She has a white long-sleeve button-up shirt and a brown plaid skirt. She's a Shinso vampire. Naruto was able to get her to join by helping her out of the mess with her family. I'm telling you, Naruto, will be upset when he sees the couch like this, you dirty imbecile, she yells at the blue-haired man. Shut the fuck up, woman. I'm trying to watch wrestling, he says, as he eats more chips and purposely makes more of a mess. Before they can kill each other, Naruto makes himself known. Alright, that's enough, he says as he sits down on the other couch, perpendicular to the Grimjaw one is on. So, how was school? Grim asks, mockingly, knowing the blonde didn't want to go. Ignoring the obvious jab, he replied, it was alright. I've managed to align myself with the sea tree hair, so that I think that's a good thing. He says before asking something else, have the others come back from their task yet? This time it was Mocha who answered, not yet. They should be back from recon tomorrow. Nodding his head upstairs and hears them start arguing again. He makes a mental note to never leave them alone again if he wants space. Once his Parage returns, he can ask them about any potential recruits. Maybe if he was lucky, there would be some, as he still had a few unsued pieces. Well, Chapter 2. In the Occult Research Club room, we find 2 ladies playing a game of chess and conversing. They were the Harris of Gremory and Sea Tree clan, respectively. Sona and Rias are playing chess like they normally do when they wish to talk about anything happening around them having to do with the supernatural. So what is this I'm hearing about a nun? Asks Sona as she moves a piece on the board. Rias sighs as she thinks of the strategy before replying. Issei made friends with a nun. She was recently captured by the fallen angel that first killed him, and now he wants to go save her. What are your thoughts about that? She asked. I'm going to let him go. He'll most likely go even if I tell him no. Kiba and Konako will go with him, no doubt. She replies, if she proves useful, I'll add her to my barrage. Issei keeps his friend, and I get a potential new piece. It's not a bad deal. While we're here, I'd like to discuss another issue, Rias says with a serious face. Sona isn't stupid. She knows what the issue is, but we'll go along with it to tell Rias the news. What issue would that be? Sona says. Naruto Namikaze. He's operating in our territory without permission, from what I gathered from our talk. He doesn't seem to be affiliated with the underworld, and if he hasn't been there in how knows how long. He's a threat and needs to be eliminated, she says. Eliminated? Yes. Not only is he in our territory, but no one has heard of him. He needs to be dealt with. Sona decides to have a bit of fun with her friend/rival. I'm surprised you want to kill him rather than to get him to join your barrage. Rias hissed. I did ask him to join, but he refused. He told me he had his own barrage, which I don't know how that's even possible. He didn't say anything else, Sona asked curiously. He just said he's a special case and left. Anyway, back to my point. He needs to be dealt with. Sona allows herself to chuckle a bit. There will be no need for that, Rias. He has permission to be here, Sona says, shocking Rias. What? I'm allowing him to be here. He's my ally, after all, she says with a smirk. He allied himself with you? Rias asks. Why didn't he ally himself with her? She wonders. Please don't take this the wrong way, Rias, but even if you try to deal with him, you wouldn't be able to. Rias narrows her eyes and crosses her arms at her chest. And why not? Yesterday, when he first offered to ally himself with me, I asked what I would get out of it since he felt so weak. He had Tsubaki and I react a barrier to contain his power. He raised his power to a level that made it hard for me to breathe. And he was just sitting there, not even trying. He's out of our league, she explains. Rias just stays quiet to focus on the game. Damn, if only I could get him to at least ally himself with me. He'd be a great help, Rias thinks to herself. Don't be so upset, Rias. You already got Hyoto, and you're probably getting another piece later tonight. I think it's about time I got something. Rias grumbled about needing him more and kept playing. Now, with Naruto is currently laying in his room. The others should have been here by now, and the three have shown up. He thinks to himself before getting up and stretches and heads downstairs to the common room of the house. Everybody is doing their own thing. Rinnegan is now lunging on the couch, watching Cops. At one of the tables in the corner of the room, Mocha is silently reading a book while drinking tomato juice. This time, there are three other among them. Noticing there's still some members missing, he asked, where are the others? Grimjaw responds, I got a word they heard about someone who might be interesting for our group. They went to go see themselves. He nods. So, anything interesting going down? He asks, as he too sits on the couch just in time for a man to get tasted by the police. Actually, yes. Some of my connections have informed me of a fallen angel gathering tonight. They're supposed to sacrifice some nun, I think, replies a young man. He's a young man with blonde hair. He wears glasses atop his head, and he has blue short-sleeve button-up, which he keeps opening to reveal his toned body. His gray pants, which are held up by a belt. This is Salvatore Doni, Europe's greatest swordsman, former exorcist of the Vatican. He is also Naruto's other knight. You still have connections? I thought everyone turned their back on you once you exiled, said a female voice. Naruto looked over at her. She's an average-sized woman. She wears black leather pants, shin-high black boots, and a black buster, which draws attention to her breasts if she's honest. She wears black arm guards and also has blonde hair through hers reaches to her mid-back. She also has two pistols she regularly uses. She is a former demon hunter, who at one point even targeted Naruto. Her name is Trish, one of Naruto's rooks. Trish, he says, scolding her. I wasn't mocking him this time. It's a legitimate question. She defends herself. Let it be known that she can be cruel at times, but mostly her enemies, but occasionally made a snide remark at her fellow members. Yes, I still have connections, Trish, he says, not bothered at all by her question. He's always good in mood kind of person. So, the Fallen are going to sacrifice someone. What for? He asks, mostly to himself, deciding it's worth looking into, and he speaks up. Donnie, you know where they're meeting, right? Donnie nods. Good. Then I'm going to send the two of you to the location, and I want you to see if the nun is worth being reincarnated, he says. Suddenly, a figure jumps from his position on the other couch. He is a tall individual with black, slicked back with no one strand hanging down in the front. He has colored armor around his neck, shins, and crotch, the crotch having a jewel in the center. He wears colored braces on his left arm as well. He also wears white baggy pants and black shoes. He is Askinaki Levar, a former member of the German human factions called Quincy's, humans with unique powers. He found him on the verge of death after being left for dead by their leader. He's one of the more unique members of his barrage. He required a mutated rook to reincarnate him. Grimjow. What do you say we go investigate this together, he says, pointing at Grimjow with both hands in gun-like motion. No, you annoy me, he replies. No, Askin, you're overqualified for this job, he paused to think. Wait, all of you are overqualified. However, there's no use sending you. You're arguably the strongest member of the barrage besides myself. Donnie, Grimjow, you two will go. If you think she's worth her, bring her back. If you don't, do as you please. Donnie nods enthusiastically. Grimjow just grunts in acknowledgement. Naruto leaves them to their own devices and continues watching TV. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Usually when sending Grimjow on a job, he tends to piss someone off. Later that night, if one looked very close or had incredible senses, they would be able to make out some silhouettes of two figures approaching a dark church. Either they had one of those two, or just ears in general, since the people seemed to be bickering. Damn, we're late. Way to go, Grimjow, complained Donnie. Grimjow burst before looking over at a man. It's not my fault I got hungry on the way. Besides, what are you bitching at me for? The sounds of fighting could be heard from inside the church. Both men looked at each other before sneaking and hiding on support beams of the ceiling in the church, watching the action unfold. Donnie noticed a small blonde-haired girl on the altar of sorts and tells Grimjow, "Look, we came too late. They already sacrificed her," in a whisper. Grimjow ignores him as he watches the brown-haired boy attack a signally clad fallen angel. The attack caught her off guard. He hit her hard enough to send her into the air before grabbing the arm, bringing her back to him. He heard boost and felt as the boy's power double as he hit the woman again, knocking her out. That was a good attack, but it was a lucky hit, Donnie commented. Grimjow agrees. Yeah, she was caught off guard by his sacred gear and paid the price. If she knew it was coming, he never would have connected. They watch as the boy goes to check on the nun. He's crying. They hear the woman staring again and she comes in. They also see a voluptuous redhead come and stand next to the boy. They look down on her and she transforms into an innocent-looking girl and talk to Issei. Issei, you wouldn't kill me, would you? Look, I still have a gift for you that you bought me. She's just trying to manipulate the boy into sparing her. I think Trish would like this girl's style, says Donnie. President, do you mind? He says, walking away. Grimjow nods his head down, and they jump down right in time to see the redhead kill the fallen angel. To an average devil, that kind of power would have been impressive, but to them it was mediocre at best. They observe the girl while the others are busy. So what do you think? Should we take her with us? Asked Donnie. Grimjow looks over for once. Nah, there's no way she'd survive with us. She looks way too fragile. She'll be killed quickly. And who are you? Asked the redhead, looking right at them. Her power still flaring. Grimjow allows a big grin to spread across his face as he sees her direct her power at him. I'll tell you once. Get away from Azia, she says menacingly. Donnie shakes his head because he knows Grimjow is going to rile her up by ignoring her. He too stays in place. Kiba, take the blonde one. I'll do with the blue-haired one, she says. In a burst of speed, the blonde boy attacks his fellow blonde with a downward slash with one of his swords. Donnie doesn't move from his spot. He summons his own sword and raises it horizontally with one hand, not budging. He then awaits for the blades to connect before swinging his blade, sending Kiba away from him. Meanwhile, Rias fires her power of destruction at the blue-haired man, intending on hitting him. What she didn't expect was for him to just casually smack it away with one hand. He looks at her, his facial expression gone, and asks in a bored voice, "Is that all? All the build-up for a pathetic attack like that?" he says, disappointed. "Come on, we're leaving." They disappear in a burst of speed, not caring that she was going to reincarnate the nun. She was worthless to them anyway. They arrive back home in no time. Naruto is the only one in the common room. Everyone else is either asleep or just doing their own thing. He looks up and sees him entering. "Report," he commands. "You didn't miss much. There was nothing interesting. The nun was dead already when we got there. Donnie wanted to stop by and get some food, so we were late." He lied. "We didn't bother bringing the nun with us. She was too weak looking. She wouldn't last a day here." Naruto goes over what he's told, ignoring Donnie in the back, claiming that it was Grimjaw's fault that they were late. Naruto nods, trusting Grimjaw's word. He usually good at knowing if a person is strong or not. Donnie heads to his room while Grimjaw stays behind. Something you need, Grimjaw? Naruto asks curiously. When are you going to reveal those freaky eyes to everyone so we can head to the underworld? I was promised a lot of strong opponents, he says. Soon. We only need a few more members to complete the barrage and we can head down there. Do not worry. I'll keep my end of the deal. You will fight a Satan, I guarantee it. He says, flashing his purple-ridged eyes. Briefly, Grimjaw smirks before heading upstairs. The next day, Naruto is walking down the hallway of Koe Academy heading to class when he sees Sona standing outside his first class. Good morning, Sona-chan. Were you here waiting for me? I'm touched, he says, smiling. Good morning, Naruto-kun. There's something I'd like to discuss with you, she says, keeping a straight face, ignoring the shocked looks others were giving her. It's not every day they hear the student council president act so familiar with someone, a boy at that. She motions him to walk with her. They had plenty of time, so he figured why not. I'd like to introduce you to my Parage today. If we're going to be allies, I'd like to know who I'm working with, she says. Naruto can understand that. It wouldn't do any good if she accidentally attacked one of his members. Not that they would die, but still. That sounds fine. When would you like to do it? He asked. Some of the students around them stopped in their tracks. The new kid and the student council president were planning to do it. The rumors would spread like wildfire tomorrow. How about after school today in my office? Yeah, that's fine. Though not all of my Parage is here, just so you know, he says. Once school was over, Naruto sent a small pulse of power, just strong enough so that those in his home could come to the school. Heading to Sona's office, he wonders what her Parage is like. Upon entering, he notices that there are some other people here besides Sona and her Parage. It seems Rias Grimmery decided to attend this little get-together. Rias Grimmery. I didn't know you'd be attending, he says with no malice. I hope you don't mind, but I felt since we do share the territory, it'd be best if we both knew your Parage, she says calmly. I don't mind at all, Sona-chan, he replies. Sona-chan, I didn't know you two were that close, Rias comments, eyes narrowing in suspicion. Before Naruto could reply, he felt his Parage arrive at the school. A few seconds later, he says, Come in. The door opens up and 5 individuals walk inside. Sona takes the time to analyze them quickly as they each enter the room. Rias does the same thing, though when she notices 2 certain men enter, she gets upset. You guys again? She says, looking at Grimjaw and Donji. Mostly Grimjaw. You guys want to tell me about... Is there something you guys want me to tell me about? Naruto asks. Oh yeah, we met her Parage at the church last night, says Donnie, and you didn't tell me this because I told you there was nothing interesting. She attacked us, we took care of her, and left, says Grimjaw, shrugging. Naruto could feel a vein threatening to emerge on his forehead. Of course Grimjaw pissed someone off. Taking a breath to calm himself down, he speaks. I apologize for their behavior, he says to Rias. She calms down but remains on guard. Anyway, this is my Parage. Grimjaw, Jaeger Jakes, my knight, Salvatore Donnie, my other knight, Shresh, my rook, Mocha Alicia, my bishop, and finally Ashkin Lavar, my mutated rook. He introduces them. Some of the others are not here at the moment. Both Sona and Rias were slight in awe of the members. They could feel the power radiating off of them. Not only, but Sona couldn't help but wonder, how did Naruto attain Europe's greatest swordsman? She knew of him. She liked to know how strong people from around the world. She's not surprised Rias doesn't know. What with her fiance prom and whatnot, clearing her thoughts, she decided it was time to introduce her own Parage. Nice to meet you all. This is my Parage, Tsubaki Shinra, my queen, Haktake Momo, my bush-up. The following was a medium-sized girl with brown hair with 2 short braids. She wore a thin blue headband on her head and a medium-sized bust. She also wore the standard woman's uniform. Kushireya, Sona's bush-up. Up next is another girl. She had shoulder-length, Moorish-colored hair and 2 pigtails with 2 bangs adorning her face, 1 strand sticking up on the top of her head. She has a big smile and waves at the group, happy to meet them. She's her knight, Meguri Tomo. Next up is yet another girl. This one, shoulder-length blue hair and blue eyes, somewhat large bust. She wore the woman's uniform, though she opted to wear thigh-high black socks with it. She is Sona's rook, Yura Tsubasa. This one was male. He wears a boy's uniform, though he forges the blazer and instead wears a vertical striped white long-sleeve button-up with sleeves rolled up. He has short hair with some spiked hair and gray eyes. He's Sona's pawn of the 4 pieces. Sanji. Finally, There was one more girl. She had brown hair worn in two thin ponytails like Meguri. She seemed happy, a little too happy. She wears woman's uniform, although she wears green striped thigh-high socks, which Naruto was sure was against the rules. She is too upon Rukuro. Rias follows suit and introduces her barrage as well. Once everyone introduced, they took some time to get acquainted, some more than others. Grimjaw was being asked multiple questions regarding his straw fragment and hair by a cute little girl, Nimura. It seems funny seeing him try to keep his composure, not tell her to shut up as he bombarded him with questions with an innocent smile on her face. Interestingly enough, Naruto saw Tsubaki look at Dani. He'd smile at her and she'd look away. Maybe this girl is into knights. They stayed for more than half an hour since Sona and Rias were going to compete to see who would go to the familiar forest, since the only one group is allowed at the time. The following day, students of Koh Academy were not able to leave the school grounds until classes were dismissed, so we find Naruto once again in the student council room by himself, this time playing chess with Sona. Chess is not his favorite game, even though he's good at it. But if Sona liked chess, he liked chess. So you're upset that Rias beat you in dodgeball and is at the forest right now, he asks, moving a piece. Yes, she says. Well, look at the bright side. You get to spend time with me, he says, pointing at himself while smiling. She stares back with a blank face. Great, she says in a monotone. He deflates. There's got to be some way to cheer her up. Suddenly, he was hit with an idea. How about we make this game interesting, he says, leaning back in his chair. She raised an eyebrow and asked how. If you win this game, I'll answer any question you may have about me. He sees her contemplating it. If there's one thing a girl likes, is knowledge. And if you win, she asked, if you win, you let me take you on a date, he says, looking at her dread in the eyes. Her eyes widen a bit and a barely noticeable pink appears on her cheeks. The thought of getting some answers was too much, and she agreed. They played for about 10 more minutes, Naruto turning heat up a bit to finish the game swiftly. It was a pretty good game, but he would set traps within to get her cornered. She never thought she'd meet someone who could beat her like this. Well, looks like I win. Come on, we're leaving, he says, standing up. We can't leave now. We're not allowed to, she says, scolding him. Come on, live a little. We're just going to lunch. We'll be back in a jiffy, he says, before he grabs her by the hand and they leave the school unnoticed. They ended up at a buffet in the middle of the shopping center. Sona served herself one plate of food and sat down at the table waiting for her blonde-haired date to come back. She didn't have to wait long. He returned, balancing 3 plates before placing them on the table. She was blinked rapidly. What was he going to eat all that by himself? He was. They talked about anything they could, of whether it was Naruto telling her about some adventures he's been on with his barrage, or what Sona's hobbies were. At first, she was hesitant to leave school, but the more time she spent with Naruto, she relaxed and enjoyed herself. She told him about her queen seems to have her eyes on a knight. While eating, when she looked up and she noticed him staring at her, not a hard stare, nor oogling, just looking at her with a smile on his face. All the attention was on her. She was not used to this attention, mostly because she'd never been on a date before. Most of the people at school usually only look at Rias and Akano. Not that she has a problem with them, but no one pays attention to the smart girl. Almost every guy at the school just looks at a girl's body. She remembered before she broke her arranged marriage, even though her former fiance would look at her body only. Not as bad as Rias's, but still it annoyed her. Naruto was different. He was looking at her face. Not only was he stronger than her, but he beat her at chess too. She wouldn't have minded if it was him that she was engaged to. No. Where did that come from? I just met him a few days ago. His kindness is refreshing, that's all, she tells herself, trying to reason. She notices him make a face. What's wrong? She asked him. Well, we kind of missed 2 classes, he says, chuckling, rubbing his neck. Idiot, she says, before they head back to school quickly. As they head back to school, Naruto doesn't notice she has a smile on her face. It's been a while that she was able to enjoy herself as much as she did today. They arrived at school relatively in time, the last period of day. Before Sono left, he called out to her. Hey, Sona-chan, we should go out again soon. You're fun to be around, he tells her. That's the first time someone has told her that she's fun. Usually people tell her that she's too stiff and she's boring. That should be a little more like her older sister. She pushes her glasses up and turns back around. I'll consider it, she says. Naruto just smiles and heads to class, though at this point he's not sure why even bother. The rest of the day, Naruto just thought about how he actually got a date with Sona. The next day, Naruto had found Issei in the hallway in the morning. The two got along fairly well, so he struck up a conversation, noticing that he looked kind of upset. Hey, Hyoto, something wrong? He asked. For the next few minutes, he had to listen to Issei rage about what happened last night. So let me see if I got this straight. You were about to have sex with Rias. Issei nods. Then this Graphia woman shows up and stops you in your room. Uninvited, says Issei. Uninvited, then proceeds to insult you. Another nod. And you just sat there and took it? Yes. Hyodo, if that were me, this Graphia woman would have been kicked out of my house in a heartbeat. But she's the wife of the current Satan. Naruto moops and drops at the mention of the redhead. Not wanting to draw suspicion, he reverts back to his normal self. I don't care if it was Betty White. She'd still be kicked out, he says. The bell rings. Alright, I gotta go to class. I'll talk to you later. 2 hours after school, Naruto didn't see Issei again. So he didn't get the chance to give him any more helpful tips on dealing with uninvited guests. He was bored in his room, so he decided to see if Sona would like to go out again. Was it too soon to ask her on another date? When they were together yesterday. Maybe, but fortune favors the bold. As he stands up and prepares to head out, he feels a familiar presence. He heads to the common room. Grimjow, I need you to open a guarantee to school. Everyone is to come along, he orders. Transfer the ORC. Seated on the couch, the Occult Research Club, was a tall, handsome young man. He seems to be in his 20s and has short blonde hair with 2 bangs on either side of his face. He wears an open maroon blazer and matching pants. He has a white long sleeve button up underneath his blazer, one button short from top revealing off his chest. This is Riser Phoenix. For the last time, Riser, I'm not going to marry you, said Rias as she sat next to him. Yeah? Who do you think you are coming and demanding that she marry you? Yells Issei. Boosted gear activated. Suddenly another voice speaks up. Well, if the contracts are already set, I think he's actually reminding rather than demanding. Everyone looked to their left, where they saw a black horizontal line split across the room. It then produced 3 vertical lines on both top and both of the horizontal line before it opened up, revealing a black void. Out of it stepped Naruto and his Parage. Riser smirked. Well, 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 if it isn't my best friend Naruto. Naruto also smirked. What's up? That's chapter 2. And that's the end of chapter 2. And that is where we're going to stop for now. Thank you guys so much. If you are enjoying this series at all so far, I would really appreciate a hit on the like button. But before I announce anything else at all, please go subscribe to my Aunt Popowski channel on Fallen DxD. I'm going to be playing games on there and posting just in general, as well as including some more content on Spartanic as well, to just have some fun, you know what I mean? I apologize that I haven't uploaded in so long. Hopefully this is much of a banger that I can come back with. This was very fun to make and read. So, again, shout out to the author who made this story. It's so fun to read. I love making what-ifs on Naruto and DxD at the same time. And this is kind of a little different story with Naruto has the Rinnegan, of course. I just wanted to thank you all for sticking with me, because I know I was going through some trouble there. I'm still in it a little bit, but I'm getting out of it, so I decided to record a video to make myself feel a little better. I'm hitting you guys with another upload. This is like the day of I'm recording it and editing it and everything like that. It's really fun to do. So hopefully I can get this out by a good 6 p.m. Eastern, but who knows. Thank you so much, guys, for the support. Without further ado, let me go and show out my balance breakers. Rob the King, Asimodus, Lachlan Yates, Atomic Warlord 58, Ant Lewis, Night Ammo, Joe Baldwin, Frostbite 0524, Refeek 135, Zapper 363, Keep Saying 21, Luis Bermudez, $5 Sake, VR Wolf hashtag 2347, Night Ammo, Zeki 2000, Seth Voiles, The PS Gamer, XOR X108, Jacob Kometz, Jordan Patchow, Mazaku, Dr_MLG underscores The Bomb, Grimfire Shot Gamer, That Round Guy, Zero Fusion, Source Bonder, and Chaotic Raven. Thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker. Seriously, thank you to everyone who stuck around and helped me through the times where I genuinely needed it, because everybody goes through something. I just won't make it public because, well, it's disrespectful. I don't ever talk about my personal life casually, but just so you know, things got hard, and, well, I had to deal with some things, and I took some L's, and maybe a little bit of W's in the process, who knows. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Thank you so much for the support. Seriously, if we can hit 1,000 likes, that'd be absolutely amazing. What if Goku was in High School DxD is going to be a ginormous one-shot movie, hopefully. And I'm going to be working on that very, very soon. So thank you so much for the support, guys. Let's try to hit 1,000 likes once again. And without further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD out.